Hey everyone, did you know that over 80% of high-end film productions today are shot on cameras with large format sensors? It's wild when you think about it, but that stat really shows just how important sensor size is for getting that cinematic look. If you're serious about stepping up your production quality, the Blackmagic Design Pyxis 12K might be exactly what you need. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, 12K sounds like overkill for most projects. But hear me out. The Pyxis 12K isn't just about the resolution, it's about the flexibility. Having that massive sensor means you can crop in post without losing quality, which is a game saver when you're shooting something like a music video or a commercial where you need multiple angles from a single take. I recently used it for an outdoor shoot where we had to frame shots tightly due to location constraints, and being able to reframe in post without pixelating the image was a huge relief. Plus, the dynamic range on this thing is insane, 15 stops, to be exact. That means you can pull detail out of shadows and highlights like never before, which is perfect for those tricky lighting situations where you don't have time to set up lights perfectly. One of the standout features for me is the PL mount. If you're into cinema lenses, this is a big deal. The PL mount is the gold standard for professional cine lenses, and having it built into the Pyxis means you can use high-end glass like Zeiss Supreme Primes or Cooke S7i lenses without any adapters. That's not just convenient, it's a cost saver too, because you're not stuck buying extra adapters to make your lenses work. I've been using this camera with a set of vintage Zeiss Super Speeds, and the image quality is just stunning. The way the bokeh renders is something you just don't get with smaller sensors or EF mounts. It's that classic cinematic look that filmmakers have chased for decades. Now, let's talk about build quality. This isn't one of those flimsy mirrorless cameras that feels like it's going to break if you look at it wrong. The Pyxis is built like a tank. I've taken it out in some pretty rough conditions, windy beaches, dusty deserts, and it just keeps on ticking. The magnesium alloy body is solid, and the weather sealing means you don't have to baby it too much. That's a huge plus if you're doing run-and-gun shoots or documentary work where you can't always control the environment. Plus, the fan is surprisingly quiet for a camera this powerful. I've used it in live interviews where the last thing you want is a noisy camera ruining the audio, and it barely made a peep. Another thing worth mentioning is the battery life. With a fully charged NPF battery, I was able to shoot for about 3 hours straight without needing to swap it out. That's not bad for a camera with this much power under the hood. And if you're doing longer shoots, you can always use the optional V-mount plate to extend your runtime. I also love that Blackmagic includes a built-in ND filter system. It's not something you think about until you're on set and realize you need to control the light, but having that built-in saves you from carrying around a ton of external filters. The electronic ND is smooth and precise, which is great for matching shots when you're switching between different lenses or lighting setups. Now, I won't lie, this camera isn't perfect. For starters, it's heavy. If you're used to shooting with a lightweight mirrorless camera, this is going to feel like a brick after a while. It's not something you're going to want to handhold for long periods unless you've got a good rig setup. Also, while the menu system is functional, it's not the most intuitive. Blackmagic's interface can be a bit clunky, especially if you're used to something like Sony or Canon. It takes a little getting used to, but once you figure it out, it's not a deal breaker. So, who is this camera for? If you're a filmmaker who's serious about quality and wants a camera that can handle both studio and outdoor shoots without breaking a sweat, the Pyxis 12K is a fantastic choice. It's not cheap, but it's not as expensive as some of the other high-end cinema cameras out there. And if you're already invested in PL mount lenses, this is a no-brainer. If you're on the fence, I'd say go for it. The image quality alone is worth it, and the flexibility you get from that 12K sensor is unmatched. Just make sure you've got the right support gear to handle the weight, and be prepared to spend some time learning the menu system. You can find all the details in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.